So Mamdani absolutely crushed it during his debate for mayor. We all knew that he would. I really had no doubt whatsoever that he wouldn't just walk up to the microphone and hit a home run. I truly believe that he did. I would love to sit here and just watch the whole debate again with you all. If we could get away with doing live reactions, maybe I would do those more often. But I know a lot of times people do get hung up on copyright reasons for that. But I picked out 3 of my favorite moments from this. And, before we really get rolling, I just want to point this out about Mamdani. He is basically saying the same thing that Bernie Sanders has been saying for 40 plus years. And what Bernie Sanders has been saying for 40 plus years has resonated with the American people. A lot of people will poke fun at Bernie and say, he's been saying the same thing for 40 years. And I'm like, yeah, he's been talking about what Americans go through. He's been speaking out against the powers that be. And I would much rather have a guy like Bernie. If he's an old man barking at the clouds, I'll take it. You know what I mean? If he's out there barking for us, then I'll take it. Because on the other hand, we have an old man barking at the clouds who has turned down everything that our founding fathers ever put in place. So if we're going to have that lesser of two evils debate that people loves to have, I would definitely throw my support behind Bernie. You can call me crazy all day. I know Bernie's getting up there in age, but I would vote for him in a heartbeat because he's still just as sharp as he ever was. He's still on point and he's still saying it. But we have a young, fresh face here who has got the base energized. People are solidly behind it. There's still Democrats who are pumping the brakes. There's still those who refuse to endorse him, and they're idiots because they're going to continue to lose. But we will win if we have more people talking the way that Mamdani does in these clips I'm going to show you. And here's the first one.
Clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
Talk about an absolute mic drop. If you didn't watch any of the rest of that debate, that dude would pretty much have my vote with that one right there. Because, really, when he started off, he said, I'm willing to work with him. And that's something we've never heard Donald Trump say. Have you ever heard Donald Trump say, I'm willing to work with the Democrats? Have you ever heard him say, I'm willing to work with Jeffries, or I'm willing to work with Schumer, or I'm willing to work with Newsom? He has held aid over governor's head. He has sent the guard into the streets. He has been all about declaring war on his enemies. He's been all about deporting people. And while that may make his followers warm and fuzzy inside, and maybe they feel like, he's fulfilling a campaign promise, one of his biggest promises was he was going to bring down the grocery bill. One of his biggest promises is that he was going to lower the cost and improve their way of living. And what I would ask them is, how is going after Letitia James, how is that making your life any better? Because I just put in my grocery order the other day and I said, damn it, this is insane. This is crazy. And if you'll notice, Republicans have just stopped talking about it. I know the bill ain't got any cheaper. I know it's right there where it always was and higher a lot of times. And so they're definitely shopping at the same store that I am. And I don't think they get a discount with their red hat. So it's absolutely insane to me that they're sitting back flexing about all this stuff, watching people sent out of the country without due process and sitting back and clapping and applauding that. And there's no substance there, folks. There's nothing that's actually going to give any value to their life. But I just love the fact that Mamdani takes Cuomo to task, because this is what we need more of in the Democratic Party.
I think we can do good things together, but number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet on the right over here.
I'll go ahead and tell you that every time he gets the mic, it's just a mic drop moment. Cuomo is sitting there asking Trump about, how can I win this race? And he is so out of touch with the people and so out of touch with the base. And what is so crazy to me is when you sit back and watch all this unfold, you say to yourself, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. Democrats aren't popular, okay? We have to admit that. We have to own that. They're not popular. Now, there's many times here on the channel that I've went to bat for Cory Booker. There's many times here on the channel I've went to bat for Hakeem Jeffries. I've said, hey, they did a good thing here. But then when they turn around and you see them posing alongside Benjamin Netanyahu, when they turn around and won't get behind a guy who has the base energized, I mean, yeah, they can continue to take all that AIPAC money and their life ain't going to change. They can continue to get their tax breaks. They can continue to live their lives however they want to. But the people are losing. And MAGA is losing. They may not realize it yet, but they are. And so I think that's a point that needs to be driven home, is that, you know, we're not just here trying to save Democrats. That's not what this is. This is about the American people and the struggles they face. And kids are going to bed hungry. And that's something that shouldn't be political. We should all want to come together. And I'm glad when Mamdani talks this way.
Be the mayor of this entire city. And that means ensuring that the wealth that we generate in this city is also wealth that every single New Yorker can actually feel in their pockets. Because what we have today is a system that has generated the most wealth in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, where 1 in 4 of our neighbors are living in poverty. That's unacceptable. We can't look at 500,000 kids hungry every single night as just the cost of doing business in this city. That's something we have to actually change. And I'm going to do that by fighting for my neighbors in Queens that I've come to know, who are not only the ones who own teapots and toy stores, who own diners and dry cleaners, but also the ones who work there. Because right now, all of them are being pushed out of this city by corporate greed, by private equity, and by a politics that refuses to fight for them. I will finally deliver that politics.
I know there are a lot of people in my part of the world who are going to be afraid of him just because of the color of his skin and the sound of his name. And I really hate to say that out loud, but I just got to be realistic with you. There's still people who have not gotten over Barack Obama and never will. So he's going to have a hard way to go on the main stage of this country because of the hatred that has been unleashed and continues to be backed up by J.D. Vance and by Donald Trump. But what he's saying there is speaking to the American people. And that's how I want to see a politician speak. I want to see one who is sitting there talking about how he will help everyone. He's not sitting there talking about his political enemies. He's not sitting there talking about revenge and retribution. He's talking about going to bat for his people. And he never says, only if you vote for me. He's never said, oh, I'm going to investigate Republicans that vote against me. I'm going to investigate Democrats who get against me. He's not said any of those things. Those things provide no substance to a person's life whatsoever. And the fact that people are suddenly feeling warm and fuzzy inside because Donald Trump is doing these things, ask yourself, is your life truly any better financially? And we all know, if you would be honest and tell the truth, that the answer is no. So to me, this message that Mamdani has, yeah, it's a message Bernie has been saying for years. It's a message that resonated with people, and people were ready to get behind Bernie and vote for him. And the Democratic establishment had other ideas. Now, I've said many times here on the channel, I voted for Hillary Clinton. I do not regret it. Okay, I don't regret that vote, and I do not regret voting for Kamala Harris. And I will cast my vote for the Democrat going forward because of what we are up against. The threat level that we're up against from the Republican Party is unlike any we have ever seen in American history. But to the Democratic Party, I would say this: you will not win on your own. You will not win if you shut out voices like Mamdani and don't get behind those people. You won't win. You will continue to get your tax breaks and you'll continue to get wealthy off your AIPAC money, but you're not going to win elections and you're going to become more and more unpopular. Listen to your base. Listen to the audience. I remember the first time I ever walked into a dive bar. I was 19 years old. I walked in to play music. I was scared to death deep down because I had no idea what was about to happen. I'd heard all sorts of stories about these places. And I remember I went to play with a guy who was older than me. He's no longer with us, but he was about, at the time, you know, I'm 19, 20-year-old, and he's 45. He's been doing it his whole life, by the way. This dude's been playing since he was a teenager. He's cut his teeth in those kind of places. And I sat down and I made out a big, long set list of how we would do things and where I would stop and talk and blah, blah, blah. I handed it to him and I said, hey, I made us one of these. And he just took it, ripped it up, wadded it, and threw it. Made me so mad. I was so upset at him. I was like, damn it. You know, I worked hard on that. What are you doing? Why are you throwing away my list? And he said, buddy, you got to learn to read the room. He said, if you go by that list and you get out there and the crowd ain't digging that list, you're going to feel it. They're going to tell you. You're going to hear that they don't want to. You can't map that out. You got to go off of the energy that they're pumping back at you. And I learned that. And there were nights that I would go out to the show, and I learned so much from that dude. I only played with him for about 1.5 2 years, but it felt like an eternity. And I learned so much from him. And it got to where when I would go out to play, I could read the room. And I could also tell by the way the people were dressed what kind of song I needed to open up with. Now, hear me out on this. If the guys come through and they were a little bit more dressed up than normal, and if the girls came through and their hair had just got done, all their makeup was on, all their clothes was in perfect place, I knew that I better hit off with something that would get the dance floor pumping immediately. Now, if they walked in like they just got done dropping the kids off at soccer with jogging pants and their hair up in a bun, yeah, I could start off with something slow. So I learned how to read the room and give the audience what they wanted to hear. And folks, I'm not necessarily flexing here, but I sold a whole lot of beer in my life doing that because I learned how to read the room. Well, what we're dealing with now is way more important than a Brando bar gig, okay? This is way more important than the 100 or 150 bucks that I made, and really I drank it all up so I didn't make shit. But I'm just saying, this is way more important than that. If I could learn to read the room in that scenario, then I think it's high time that the Cory Bookers and the Hakeem Jeffries of the world learns how to read the room and see what's right in front of them. Guys, they're not buying what you're selling. They don't believe in it anymore. They believe in what Mamdani is saying. And what Mamdani is saying is the same thing Bernie has been saying. And 50 years from now, if there's one of Tennessee Brando's grandkids sitting in this chair trying to carry on what I done, they're going to be saying the same damn thing. And are you still going to be sitting there kicking against it then? Or are you going to wake up and face what's called reality? And yeah, I just quoted Doyle Hargraves from Swing Blade, but damn it, wake up. Get behind this moment. Get behind this energy. Feed off that energy. You will get so much more than you will ever get from that dirty money. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't live in New York, but I am going to be watching Mamdani. I'm going to be watching him closely, and I have a feeling that in the future that's going to be somebody that one day could be a contender. I hope when it comes around to the time that he's a contender on the main stage, I would really like to see us back to actually getting shit done. That would be great, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of awesome if we were just getting shit done. I don't think that that's too much to ask.